What is up, everyone? Welcome to ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. Tonight, we'll talk about one draft prospect that I'm kind of falling in love with the idea of the Cowboys drafting. And as you can read from the title, we're talking about maybe a Parsons-esque player, so stay tuned for that. And we will talk all about the safety position tonight. What is up, guys? Thank you for joining the show. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you share the show. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, let your friends know about ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. So I see that the YouTube chat was quite active before I even got here. So what is up? We did start the show about 5 minutes later than usual because that might be the norm on Thursdays since I have an afternoon class in college and I need to get back on time. Now, what is up, Jay Cena? Saying shout out from Monterrey. Make sure y'all hit the like button. And this might be out of context, but it is not, because here goes a fact. Monterrey is the hometown for Cowboys offensive lineman Isaac Alarcon. So that is amazing. What is up, burner account? What is up, Chuck? What is up, guys? Burner account. We have Mrs. Tom Downey's burner account as well. So thank you, guys. Thank you for joining us. David, what is up? Bruce got the use. The legend, the man, the myth, the legend, Nick Wallace here. Mao on one screen and Maps on the other. Nick is a huge part of what we have going on ADC Sports Dallas. So shout out to Nick for all of his hard work. And yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sorry if I'm late sometimes answering to your emails, Nick. I try my best. So without any further ado, let's start the show officially. And let's talk about this draft prospect that I'm excited about, to be honest. Hello, everyone, and welcome to ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. I'm Mauricio Rodríguez, streaming with you live every Sunday through Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central here on Dallas On Demand Sports Talk Network, with a lot more content coming your way throughout the entire offseason. Make sure you check out adcsports.com/Dallas for more Cowboys content and, of course, for more Mavericks content. And look at that, my article from this morning on what we discussed. What was it? Was this last night? No, this was Tuesday night on Troy Aikman talking about the Cowboys roster. You can also read what Emmitt Smith had to say. You can also read about Jaron Kears and a lot of other big-time Cowboys storylines. And as Nick was suggesting in the chat, Mavericks storylines, because, hey, the NBA is hitting up and we are excited about it. So check out adcsports.com/Dallas. Let's talk about this draft prospect that I wanted to talk about, because, you know, this is an interesting prospect. I need to fully admit I have not, made a deep dive into Daxton Hill's tape, but I'm sure I'm excited about it, and specifically because what was it? It was yesterday morning when I was driving home, actually, now that I think about it, and I was listening to the Athletic Football Show, and they're doing these draft versions of the show with the legend Dane Brugler. And you got to look at this quote. This is what Dane Brugler had to say about Daxton Hill. They were discussing the other guys, Lance Zierlein, of course, from NFL.com. They were discussing Brugler's top 100 rankings, and he had something interesting to say about Daxton Hill. You see an explosive athlete, and this is the quote from Brugler. You see a guy that can cover receivers, cover tight ends, blitz them, who finds the football. He can play a little bit of corner, a little bit of safety. And when we talk about a Parsons-esque draft prospect, this is more than anything what I mean. Of course, maybe Daxton Hill is not a top 10 talent in the draft like Micah Parsons was, But Daxton Hill is a player that could very well be available in the Cowboys range with the 24th overall pick. For some people, he is the third best safety in the draft. For some, he's the second. I don't think anyone has him ranked above Cal Hamilton from the Fighting Irish. I don't think that will happen. But Daxton Hill is quite a versatile player. And I don't know about you, but I would absolutely love having two players as versatile as Parsons and Daxton Hill could be. Because what you gotta love about Parsons is that he's this matchup chess piece, ultimate matchup threat that you can utilize week to week in a different basis and even within the same game, which is even more exciting. So Daxton Hill definitely sounds like a player that we could all get behind. Now, here are some of the notes that you can find about Daxton Hill around, important sites, including that quote from Rugler in his ranking saying that he's the top nickel defender. So interesting to note that even though he is this maybe listed as a safety, he can also be this nickel defender that you can utilize on safeties, on tight ends or different receivers, rare coverage traits. And I loved this. Like, this is the cherry on top to me. According to the Draft Network, what is his scheme fit? Cover 1 and cover 3. And I loved finding this out. Again, I have not made any deep dive into Daxton Hill's tape myself, and I'm not a talent evaluator. Of course, I do enjoy watching tape and all of that, but I would much rather give you guys some thoughts on people that do this full time. And I think this is very interesting because my one question after listening to Dane Brugler talk about Daxton Hill was, what about his range, right? Because if we're discussing Dan Quinn's defense, you want a free safety with at least very good range. And it seems like Daxton Hill can check that box. Now, interesting comment in the YouTube chat, and an important one, because we have people that like Daxton Hill. And I think I saw Matt Owen around here in the chat saying that he was really high on him. But we also have this mentality that the Cowboys front office actually shares. And this is from Stephen White on YouTube. He says, no first round safety for me. And if you think about it, this is more or less the way the Cowboys have operated in the last few years. They seem reluctant to take a safety in the first round. But I wonder if that could change with the presence of none other than defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. So my question from me to you is, truth or false? Quinn has enough respect to convince the Cowboys front office of a first round safety. Do you guys believe that is the truth? Do you believe that is false? Let me know your thoughts in the chat. And here is my hypothesis, because I believe this will be quite controversial. What is up, young star? Thank you for tuning in over at Facebook. Burner account says, all caps, false. Young star says, true. The Reaper says, true, he can do it, but will he? Good question by the Reaper. Dallas doesn't value safety enough, says Bruce got the use. Peter says, true. Michael McDonald says that is a true statement. James agrees with that. And I think this is an important question. And I cannot forget about the Cowboys signing, Malik Hooker, the Monte Casey, Jaron Kears. And I even created this meme back then that, that Lisa Simpson meme in which she's kind of giving a presentation with a blank slide. And everyone uses this template. I actually remember making a meme that said safeties are actually important. And then Dan Quinn as Lisa Simpson in that meme. So I will say true. I think that Of course, it all depends on how the board falls whenever we are in the 28th of April, by the way. And shout out to JCina, who always says hi from Monterrey here in the chat. I might be the 29th of April over there, potentially, if a project goes the right way. So I do think Dan Quinn has enough draft input to convince the Cowboys of taking a safety. Now, this all depends on Stevie Mac says, too bad my memes never get put on the show. Well, Stevie Mac, whenever you have a meme, you can send me it. And of course, if it's safe for work, because sometimes Stevie Mac's comments are not safe for work, we will put it up on the show 100%. So Stevie Mac, you know it, send me your memes whenever they are safe for work. And whenever they are not, also send them to me, at least for my own entertainment. Iceberg says that he cannot get behind this. He says, yeah, I can't see a first-round safety for Osmo. Now, I will play devil's advocate here. Do you remember when Byron Jones was drafted? Now, Byron Jones was an interesting pick by the Cowboys because, of course, right now we remember him as a cornerback. But wouldn't we be correct in saying that back in that draft, he was seen as a hybrid defensive back? I think no one listed Byron Jones as a true cornerback back in 2015 when he was drafted in the first round. Back then he was more than anything, he was a safety. Of course, he got drafted because of how well he tested in the combine when he broke some records and stuff. And right off the bat, he was seen as this player that could do a little bit of everything. Daxton Hill might be in a similar spot when we get to April. When the scouting combine is all said and done, Daxton Hill is expected by many in the media, including Dane Brugler, which is one of the reasons why we are discussing this. Daxton Hill is expected to test very well. So, although we are used to this front office being reluctant to draft safeties, I do believe that there is some evidence to say they might do it. And Dan Quinn might convince them to do it if the board falls a certain way. And just to sum up what I'm saying, the two things that I would point towards as evidence is, number one, the team did draft a safety in 2015 before he fully transitioned to cornerback, Byron Jones. And the number two thing is the Cowboys were way more active signing safeties in free agency last year. That could very well be the case once again. Let's see. Stevie Mac says Byron Jones killed it at the Underwear Olympics. Man, Byron Jones, I always hate remembering that the Cowboys didn't keep him. I think he was going to be very good for the Cowboys. Hill says Danny Savage is a slot corner, not a true run-stopping safety. Says Danny, I do know that there is some, controversy there because I've seen people describe Daxton Hill as a very complete player and a good tackler. And I actually was reading someone complain about the fact that they didn't get enough tape on Daxton Hill as a single high safety because of the fact that he played in the Big Ten and he was constantly in the box. I, however, have not seen his tape with attention, so I'm just pointing out. Roman says, smart observation on Byron Jones. Hey, Roman, thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see. Roy Fletcher, what is up? He says, Quinn's success and turnaround of the defense gives him the weight. And I do want to dive into a bit of later in the offseason, the coverages of the Cowboys to really point out how different Quinn's defenses how Quinn's defense was to his previous defenses around the NFL. And I do wonder if that will remain the case in 2022 because it is difficult to win in man coverage like the Cowboys did for most of the season. Let's see. I always get a Facebook user comment, but it shows me like Facebook user and his comments are always blank. So whoever you are, Facebook user, I do apologize for not being able to read your comments. Kenneth Fraser says true to the question, excuse me. Now, this whole conversation will take us to another question, which, we got to point to the fact that even though you should always take the best player available in the draft, it always seems like it will at least partly influence the team's decision making when they are on the clock. So if the Cowboys re-sign Damontae Casey, if they bring back Malik Hooker as well, or Jaron Kears, even though Jaron Kears is not that free safety, I do think it impacts the chances of drafting Daxton Hill. And this brought up the question that is Damontae Casey a low priority or a high priority free agent? How would you categorize him? And this is not a democracy. So it is a democracy, kind of. And I'm talking about the show here. But what I mean by this is we will forbid medium answers. So we are not allowed to say medium priority. If you had to lean towards one of these two, where would you lean when discussing Damontae Casey's free agency status? Is it a low priority or a high priority? And Burner Account says, damn, that is a hard question. And I agree with Burner Account. It is a hard question, which is why I didn't include medium priority, because that's what plenty of people would have answered. I wanted people to decide low or high priority. The vast majority of answers right now is low. Reaper says that he wants Malik Hooker more than he wants Casey. And I'm not against this idea from the Reaper. I'm not against it. I think that Malik Hooker could still be an inexpensive option for the Cowboys. But still, Damontae Casey played significantly more snaps than Malik Hooker. And Casey, at the end of the day, he's still Dan Quinn's guy. So that gives him an edge, maybe, if you take a look at it from the Cowboys' point of view. Bruce Got the Use says, low priority, gotta keep Kears more, which I agree. Out of the three safeties, I would give Jaron Kears the highest priority, even though he's not that safety that will be able to play as a single high defensive back, and he will be more of this linebacker hybrid that we discovered in 2021. Chuck says at Facebook, let him walk. Shouldn't be a priority at all. So that's one of the strongest opinions here. Theodore says, how many times did he get burnt and he missed tackles? Casey, minimum contract or swap. Roy Fletcher says, after we signed Gregory, he is a high priority free agent. So, a bit of different opinions here in the chat. I will say low priority. But even though I will say that, if you're not able to keep Casey, you 100% need to figure out a contract with Malik Hooker. Because although I can sit here right now, what is it? Is it the 17th of February and be excited about Daxton Hill? I'm just not sure that you can risk going into the NFL draft without that answer at such an important position for Dan Quinn's defensive scheme. Like, the Cowboys were one of the teams that played the most cover one in the league. We cannot understate how important having that free safety position set is for this Cowboys defense. That is the one guy that is playing up high a lot of the times for the Cowboys, Rather, a lot of people saying, and this includes Edwards over here, I would like to keep Hooker. A lot of people like Malik Hooker over Damontae Casey, which I actually agree with. I fully agree with you guys. The Reaper says Patrick plays like Kear's linebacker type, and he's safety. That is right. He is definitely a player that will be in the mix at the first round for the Cowboys. I would keep Casey for $1.5 million, says Roman, which would be a huge pay cut for Damontae Casey, who signed a one-year deal. Wait, how much did Casey sign for? Because if anyone has that info, please let me know, because I got confused out here. And I was thinking about Keanu Neal's contract. Was it the same? I'm not sure. Like, I also thought 5 mil as burner account, but I kind of forgot about, I kind of got confused because I know that Keanu Neal signed a one-year deal for 5 million. Casey got 1 million, says Roman. Oh, he got a very low contract. Even though, yeah, all right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Roman, and thank you, Samuel. Samuel also says Casey was under 2 million. Yeah. All right. That is helpful. That changes the perspective, definitely. I think that if you can get the Monte Casey for the same price tag, I think that's a bargain. And I know a lot of people do not like bargain free agents, but if you can get that worst case scenario answer at free safety, 100% go get it. Even though all the safeties are cheap, as Samuel Rowe is pointing out on Twitter. Yeah, all right. So I think this does change the whole conversation now that we are thinking about it here out loud. Like, if Jaron Kearse is going to be that cheap once again, I am changing my answer to a high priority free agent, to be honest. Hey, let's cross off as many needs as you can. And if in the draft you can find Daxton Hill and you want to take him, sure, go for it. What are you gonna lose, right? So, hey, shout out to the chat. Make sure you hit the like button, by the way, for those of you who are just tuning into ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. Now, before we leave, this is the final show of the week. I will see you guys on Sunday. But before we go, I have one more question for you, because the Super Bowl 56, all right, came and went. We are in for a full off season. A full off season is ahead of us. Of course, there are weeks that are very interesting, like free agency weeks, franchise tags week, all of that. And of course, when we get closer to the draft, the entire draft season is so fun, and I'm looking forward to it. But I do wonder, during the regular season, I often wonder, when you're watching a game, like, for example, when we were watching that historic shootout between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs, I often wonder, what the heck are non-football fans doing right now? Because it always amazes me, the fact that when we're watching these epic moments, and when I wake up on Sundays all excited because there's football on, I often wonder, I cannot believe that there are people that don't watch football. But then we get to do it for about 7 months, and it's never that fun. So just a random question for the chat. What's your favorite off-season weekend activity? What do you guys do on Sundays? What do you guys do on Saturdays? I really don't know. I always struggle with this during the first few weekends of the off-season. Jason Renfro says it's NBA time now. And I do like the NBA, but I do not obsess over it like I do with football. And when I watch it, I enjoy it more than anything as a fan. Let's see. Sleeping, says Nick, memes Dallas Cowboys for life. All right, sleeping sounds like a plan. I don't nap too often. So, if we took a look at my napping statistically, it would definitely go up during the offseason. building my wealth so I can save these damn teams' burner account. Let's see. Stephen White, I'm not. All right. NHL time now. Twiddle my thumbs. Roman says yard work and work on marriage. Watch my LSU basketball. Hoping for MLB to end their lockout. I hate the fact that I want to talk about baseball and there is nothing to talk about other than the lockout. March Madness and NBA. Joseph says watch NFL draft prospects film. Yeah, I do a bit of everything. I'm always watching, like, for example, Cowboys tape and some other NFL teams that maybe I didn't get the chance to watch a lot. I like to do that because, for example, I want to dive into how Trevor Lawrence played. Maybe I want to see more of that Rams offense, more specifically, and things like that. But I also do start binging on Netflix shows or things like that. I am going to rewatch the Peaky Blinders, for example, as we get ready for the final season. I am going to start Peaky Blinders all over again. That is a great show. I might rewatch Succession, even though I just recently saw it. But I just love Succession, and I will watch it again. So, yeah, watch Point Drive, watch the Maps play. All right. So I hope that you guys can get through this off-season safe. Peaky Blinders is a damn good show. Just rewatched it, Moses burner account. It is. I am currently at the second episode. I have seen it before. This is my first rewatch, though, and it is so fun. I fully recommend it for those of you who are thinking about what to do during this NFL offseason. Shannon says, go Maps. Indeed, go Maps. All right, so guys, I hope that you enjoy your weekend. I'll get out of here. Thank you guys for tuning into ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. For more Cowboys and Mavericks articles, go check out adcsports.com/Dallas. Ian and Alec, our writers, do a great job covering the Mavericks. So you can also check out information about them over there. So check out adcsports.com/Dallas. And guys, have a great weekend. I am your primetime host, Mauricio Rodríguez, and I will see you on Sunday at 8 p.m. Central. Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.